Good morning to everybody. Welcome into the 615 Prep Scoreboard. Hope you're drying out after last night's rains. Chris Brooks here with you, Scott Burton, Cam Reed, Spears. A fun night on Friday night, but with the exception of Scott, we all got wet.
And then some.
I mean, it brought back memories of last year's 6A state title game. Isaac and I were at Green Hill, and he says it wasn't as bad. I mean, I ducked out of that game early, but my God, still not dry.
Scott, it didn't leak in your apartment, did it? I don't want to misrepresent things.
No,
Okay.
It didn't. But as bad as I think you guys had it, was it as bad, Chris, as the Lipscomb Academy game? What was it, 4 years ago?
Oh, yeah, that one.
Well,
It wasn't that bad where we had like delays. Although, truth be told, over at BG, we should have been delayed. We had some lightning in the area, but nobody caught it, except maybe me. But I didn't say anything.
I thought you were going to segue that into it was on the field.
Well, at Mount Juliet, and funny thing is, we're 3.5, 4 miles from Joe, and it would rain for really hard for 10 minutes, and then it would stop, and the wind would blow, and it would be real cold, and then it would start raining again, and that's kind of the cycle we went through at Mount Juliet.
You know, it rained from the second quarter on at Green Hill, so I hate you, Cam.
Good morning, Kevin.
Yeah,
I will say shout out to Isaac for carrying around the umbrella while I shot video. He's the real MVP, so I appreciate him.
He is the real MVP. He's the real person with the brain around here because did not have an umbrella.
Oh, he didn't bring it. Somebody at Green Hill gave us the umbrella. So whoever that was, I can't remember who said it was. They're the real MVP.
Yeah, I got to credit the assist on that one. So,
yeah.
Well, a lot of scores to get into and a lot of highlights to get into. And why don't we just go ahead and kick this thing off with Thursday night action over at Stratford, where they had the new field dedicated. Jalen Hill opened the scoring here for Lawson not too long into this game, and this was kind of a theme throughout the first half. Lightning break through and block the punt here to set up another score. And you're going to hear this young man's name quite a bit for Lawson in this highlight package because it was Kawan Taylor that gets the handoff and goes around right in and scores 14-0 Lawson. This game got out of hand quite quickly. Zach Capps, great throw to De'Aaron Guerrier. Look at this, just fights his way to the end zone. 20-0 Lightning at that point. And then a little Wildcat action. And Kawan Taylor faked me out on the Wildcat and then just finds his way into the end zone. Lawson at that point, it was 27-0 in the first quarter. Just kind of a wonderful offensive performance. Taylor had a pick six, and then he finds the end zone from a yard out again. Lightning led this one 41-0 at the half. And the backups got in. Mekhi Jackson had a touchdown reception in the third quarter, but Stratford finally got on the board late in the fourth. Khalil Woods scoops and goes 97 yards to give the Spartan fans something to cheer about. And they win it 48-6. And guys, as I pull up the scoreboard here, Lawson an impressive performance on Thursday night.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just thought with Stratford opening up their turf field, maybe last week's loss was a bit of a fluke. But no, Lawson's legit. The Lightning look really good. They look to be in a really good spot to potentially pick up a playoff spot as well this year. So next week's game against Centennial is a really, really big one. And, yeah, I mean, what a win for the Lightning. Is this their best win in program history so far?
I argue it is.
Yeah, I would say so. And for Stratford, back-to-back rough weeks, they kind of got to get it together. They got a tough region game this week against Liberty Creek.
Guys, you can't say enough about Brian Lilly and what he's done for this program, how he's built this program in its second year. These kids are playing at a level right now that I think they're ahead of the curve.
Yeah, and if you want to know what kind of coach Brian Lilly is, look at the drop-off that Brentwood Academy experienced on the defensive side of the ball after he left as well. So
yeah, that can't be understated.
Yeah,
that certainly can't be understated. I mean, as former defensive coordinator, yeah, it's a big difference since he left there, and to build that Lawson program, they're going in the right direction for sure. On to some Friday scores. Ravenwood had a tough time at Blackman. Shout out to the Blaze here. Credit them for putting up a really good fight against a very good Ravenwood team. That Blackman program might do some damage to the region.
Yeah, I mean they're staking a claim to have one of us at Blackman Riverdale, which is probably going to be the 2 seed out of that region. So
Yeah. This game was tied 7-7 with under 5 minutes remaining. It took a Femi Babalola run for the go-ahead TD. That's how good the defense at Blackman was last night.
I talked to a few people that were at this game yesterday, and they said Ravenwood had like 4 touchdowns called back. So not exactly what you want there, but I mean that's a heck of an effort by Blackman. And for Ravenwood, you found a way to win after week 1. You go on the road, pick up a really tough win. Last week you destroy Cane Ridge, and then this week you have your real first adversity of the year.
Yep. Ravenwood is 3-0 with that win, however, and that's the most important thing. BA goes on the road and gets a big win, 23-13 at Christian Brothers.
You got to talk about BA's defense these last couple weeks, right? I mean, they gave up 31 to CPA in the season opener, 6 last week in the Battle of Brentwood, and then 13, I believe, on the road this week. So, I mean, that defense has gotten better, and if your offense can really get going like we think they can with George McIntyre, I mean, the Eagles are going to be significantly better, and they've already matched last year's win total.
yeah, if we know anything about Paul Wade's teams are going to get better as the season goes on. So this BA team, it's a good start for them to be 2-1.
Yeah, this game was 20-0 into Eagles until late in the third quarter. They bent but didn't break. He said McIntyre had a solid 125 and 1 TD, but it was really Thomas Balchero's night. The BA kicker had 3 field goals, including a 59-yard field goal as time expired at the end of the first half.
Yep, definitely a good night for the kickers. BA goes to 2-1 with that win. Christian Brothers 1-1 on the year. Lipscomb Academy into the win column. Jamie Graham's first win as head coach of the Mustangs. They win 35-21 at home over Briarcrest Christian.
Yeah, they were in control of this one throughout. Briarcrest gets a couple scores there in the second half to make it a little closer, but I mean, you need this sort of win with Baylor coming to town next week.
Yep.
If you get a chance to watch this game on replay somewhere, the Briarcrest was driving late to tie it late in the fourth quarter, and I have never seen anybody throw a lethal forearm shiver like Chris Thompson did to the Briarcrest quarterback. He had a wide open run to the end zone. CJ Jim Coley kind of held him up for just a second, and then Thompson just absolutely leveled him flat where he stood.
Yeah, he explained to me how as soon as he said forearm shiver, I knew who he was talking about.
Yeah, for sure.
It was saved a certain touchdown for sure.
Yeah.
If you like pads popping, go watch Chris Thompson because he's going to bring it every game.
Yeah. Yep. But congrats to Jamie Graham on his first win as Lipscomb Academy's head coach. Antioch's 3-0. They win 40-6 at home over Cane Ridge. And when was the last time Antioch started 3-0? It's been a minute.
Maybe under with LaMarcus Coker, maybe. That would have been their last region title, too.
Yeah.
Good win for the Bears. A little bit dropped down in competition. Cane Ridge kind of going through a rebuilding spurt, but from a defensive standpoint, better showing this week for Antioch.
Yep. Cannon County at home gets their second win of the year over Cheatham County, 48-16. The Cubs, as we've talked about before, no home games this year. They're on the road for every game as their stadium's getting rebuilt. It's just a tough loss for them. Cannon County 2-1 though.
Yeah, they're rolling right now. Really, really good offensive showing there.
Hicks Hunter had 4 touchdowns for Sycamore. They win 36-0 over Clarksville Academy. The War Eagles now 2-1.
Yeah, this is the Sycamore team we were expecting to see.
Yeah,
Hicks Hunter running wild and beating the teams that they should beat. Tough matchup next week against East Robertson.
Kind of a get-right game for Pearl Cone. They win 41-7 in their region opener over Creekwood.
Davion Kennard went off in this one. I saw a couple of his touchdown runs. He's really good, guys. He's really good when you get the ball in his hands. And Pearl needed this. Couple of tough losses to open the year. I think the Firebirds are back on track now.
Yeah, I think your numbers, you had him at 12 for 250.
Something like that, yeah.
So if that's remotely accurate, guys, that's 20 yards a pop.
That's good production.
Go to his Instagram page if you don't follow him and see some of the highlights he has on his story, because it's wild.
Yeah, we've momentarily lost Scott, and he'll be back in just a minute, I imagine. But we're going to keep going. DeKalb County 3-0, 42-8 winners at Livingston Academy.
Yeah, everybody talks about Macon and Upperman in that region, but guys, White County gave Cookeville a lot of fits last night. This DeKalb County team's 3-0. Like this, that region up there is shaping up to be really good from 1 through 4.
Yeah.
Oh, look who's back.
We missed you.
Thank you for lying.
If only that left.
FRA's 3-0. They win big at Webb School 49-14.
FRA hasn't missed a beat this year, guys. I mean, we thought they'd kind of take maybe a step back with Ty Clark gone, Bobby Council gone, but Justin Geisinger is one of the best coaches around, and the Panthers are showing that right now.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Big night for Cam Glenn. 146 yards, 4 touchdowns.
That's perfect.
So if you didn't watch our 615 Preps live show on Wednesday, Scott's apology, it was next level, and then some. And that's what that's referencing. So you have to go back and watch that. We don't have time to explain that this morning. Columbia Academy knocks off Friendship Christian 21-15.
Yeah, Friendship kind of kept Monte Baldwin in check for the most part in this game. Their defense really gave him a chance to win, but Columbia Academy just a little too much at home.
Camby's next highlights are yours. You were over at Mount Juliet like you talked about, so let's talk about it.
Yeah, Galton fumbles the opening kickoff. Mount Juliet goes. Galton's defense stiffens up and forces a 32-yard field goal from Daniel Echeverria. Mount Juliet leads 3-0 early on. After a interception on the second play for Galton, John Michael Crudup takes it in. And, guys, that's a SEC punter right there. That's about a 55-yard punt that gets scooped up and taken back to midfield by Isaiah Roseberry. I mean, everything – once Galton kind of got their footing and thought that they were going to be able to withstand, that's a 4th and 1 delay quarterback sneak. That was not a quarterback sneak where he just bounced it. But this was the story for Galton right here, putting the ball on the ground. I know they had at least 5 turnovers, 2 interceptions, multiple fumbles. Great interception right there by Trey Redmond. The story was Mount Juliet's defense. And the rain didn't help matters, but Galton just couldn't get out of their own way. And it really started from the opening kickoff through the whole game. Mount Juliet, John Michael Crudup, being able to run the ball very effectively. This Mount Juliet team is a real deal, especially on defense.
Giving up 14 points through 3 weeks. They shut down a really good offense in Gallatin, who you got to think they're probably really frustrated with the way this year started, losing to Hendersonville the way they did week 1, only scoring 16, and then to get shut out here. Mount Juliet is what we thought Mount Juliet would be. Gallatin still with a lot of questions to answer.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, Cam, I think Gallatin was held to under 100 yards total offense. You couple that with the turnovers, this Mount Juliet defense really looks good.
Yeah, this region, we've talked about it a lot, about who we thought might come out. And then when Mount Juliet has essentially put themselves as the front runner.
Yeah.
Big win for Ezo Harding. They're in the win column for the first time this year, 19-18 over Glencliff.
Good win. Good win for the Eagles.
Over a Glencliff team that's not as bad.
Whites Creek, 52-15 winners over Greenbrier.
Yeah.
How about those Cobras? Cobra Kai.
That's right.
I can't wait to see the stat sheet on this, just to see just how many yards Whites Creek had passing.
Is Whites Creek kind of in a situation like Antioch was last year, where they have this freshman quarterback that's come in and kind of changed things for them, and now the future looks very bright. Because, I mean,
Yeah.
when's the last time we saw Whites Creek doing this to teams?
And guys, we saw it at the 7-on-7. Me, Joe, and Chris, we were able to see him at the 7-on-7 at Lebanon, and it's just a different vibe around that Whites Creek team than what there has been in the past. So definitely got to like where the Cobras are going.
Critical region game for them next week against White House too at home, and that's going to be one that's really important for their playoff chances. Good Pasture goes out to Jackson and falls 42-14 to Jackson Christian.
Yeah, it's a really good Eagles team that can put up a bunch of points on anybody. So
Good Pasture is still figuring out who they are with the new coaching staff, young team. It's going to take some time, but they'll get there.
It's not taking time for Oakland. They had no trouble with Haywood 49-6 last night.
This was a close game early on. I believe it was 7-6. Haywood actually had a drive going through a pick six, and then Oakland just kind of did what Oakland does to basically every team they play in the regular season. So,
yeah, Oakland only allowed the Tomcats one red zone possession, held them 3 of 11 on third downs. They converted 4 of 6 third downs and 3 of 4 in red zone chances. So Oakland made the most of the opportunities that they had. But Kyle Creasy, a good night throwing. 144 yards and 4 touchdowns. You don't often see that with an Oakland team actually having multiple touchdowns through the air.
This is a really good Haywood team too, guys. I mean, you look at the score and Oakland does what they did, but I mean, this is a Haywood team that'll likely be playing somebody from our area, more than likely Pearl in the semi-state game if both teams take care of business.
Brentwood took care of business over Hendersonville 56-14, and Gavin Nelson had a monster night for the Bruins.
Look, I said this was going to be a rock fight. I'm an idiot. I'm not apologizing to Brentwood because I did pick them to win this game, but my goodness, Gavin Nelson, Tyson Moody caught up with him after the game, 4 or 5 touchdowns. It's a big win for the Bruins, who kind of struggled offensively these last couple weeks.
Yep, I think they found their guy. And Tyson's been trying to tell us for the last 3 weeks that it's got to be Gavin Nelson, and I think they found their guy. They go on the road to Paris next week to battle Henry County.
Well, that rock turned into a boulder pretty much.
Yeah, it did. Goodness.
And it just keeps on rolling downhill when you have that kind of night. Springfield had this game pretty much in hand until Henry County found a way back, and they wound up winning 23-22 over the Yellow Jackets.
Yeah, heartbreaker for Springfield coming off of last week. They are a good team. They have to be able to find a way to put some more points on the board and finish.
Yep. This is a team that those teams in that region that they're in, Portland, Hendersonville, Springfield, between those 3 teams, I think two of those will get in. Is that right? Or is it only one of those 3 will get in? But either way, there's going to be a decent football team on the outside looking in. It's just a matter of who it's going to be. And Dustin Wilson has made great improvements at Springfield this year. It's easy to see early on. But that region is going to be very interesting come late in the season.
I mean, it's interesting now. I mean, you consider this game here, and then Beach and Portland will play next week, and the gap between 1 and 5 is not that large. It really is.
It's not what we thought it was going to be.
No.
Henry County and Beach are not playing nearly as well as we thought they would this year. Portland's playing significantly better, and so is Springfield.
Yeah.
And Hendersonville.
This is Springfield's a team that – I'm sorry, Chris.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, Springfield's probably a team you're not going to want to see late in the season.
No. Stewart's Creek continuing their strong start, 35-0 over Hillsboro.
Just a dominating performance from the Red Hawks. Jeremy Smith caught 6 balls for 113 and 2 scores, added another 53 on the ground.
Columbia blanks Hunter's Lane 24-0. The Warriors go down to Columbia and just couldn't find any offense there.
No, it's a good Columbia defense, and they showed that last night.
Centennial gets a close win over Independence 20-13. And, Independence 0-3, but they're getting closer.
Yeah, I think that was kind of a reality check for Centennial last night after they kind of cruised past Summit in week 2. Independence showing that they're one of the better 0-3 teams around. They just faced a brutal start to their schedule this year, man. Freaking Oakland, Independence, and now Centennial. Next week, Big one. Big playoff implications against Franklin.
Yeah.
Innovation Academy falls to 0-3. They went down to Chattanooga and lost to Race Baptist 41-6.
It's a good team name matchup, the Centennials and the Golden Eagles.
Yeah.
Region opener for CPA, no problem for the Lions, 42-9 over JP2. And the Knights, a little bit of a reality check.
Yeah, I mean, I've been saying I want to see CPA kind of step on some teams when they're up big, and they did that last night. They showed that they are very, very much the leaders in this region. Well, I mean, maybe not very much because there's another team right behind them.
Clarksville got their region opener, 42-13 over Kenwood.
Yeah, they came out strong. The Knights couldn't stop the Wildcat running game. Jack Wyatt, the quarterback there, put up a couple of scores. The big thing was the defense forced two turnovers and 3 sacks, one of them resulting in a scooping score by Ben Moore. So, Clarksville just continues that in-season winning streak. It's just, can they translate it to victories, if they make it through the season that undefeated.
Kirkwood blank Northwest 30-0. The Cobras off to 3-0 start. Joe,
Cobra Kai.
There you go.
Yeah, don't look now, but Kirkwood's defense having a really, really solid start to the year.
That Kirkwood-Clarksville matchup looms large on the horizon.
Yep. Don't forget Rossview.
The Dixon County matchup this week next week is going to be big too, because Kirkwood started off hot last year, and then Dixon County kind of reality check. So they get past Dixon County, that really shows they've made some progress.
Yep.
Wilson Central won a tight one last night over Laverne 14-6. They're 2-1.
Big one coming up at Green Hill, and let me tell you, the Hawks are very much looking forward to that game.
Yeah, and this is a big bounce back for Wilson Central, being 2-1 after they could arguably be 3-0 guys. They were up 14-0 at halftime on Rossview and lost 22-14. So this Wilson Central team's a sneaky team in that tough region that we were talking about.
And staying in that region, Lebanon gets a big bounce back, 35-0 over Warren County.
Yeah, very much needed. They had to win this game in this manner to get some confidence back in the kids.
Well, Lebanon's defense was the story here. They held Warren County to 22 yards rushing, forced turnovers all night long. They blocked a couple of punts. One was recovered by J.D. Stafford for a touchdown. Had a pick six, Boston Harrison. Good night for Isaiah Murrah rushing. He had 2 scores on the night.
Loretto knocked off Harp at 34-7 in their region opener.
The Mustangs are quite good. Very, very good.
Maybe one of the games of the night, probably the game of the night around the area. 35-34 Upperman over Macon County. This one went back and forth. It was a heavyweight fight.
Yeah, I'll start it by saying the same thing I said in text last night. Macon County found another way to lose to Upperman. Just when you think you can't lose any worse fashion than you lost the last two games last year, running out of time, and then Upperman going on a 10.5-minute drive to end your season. You score with 36 seconds left, and you try the extra point to send it to overtime, and it's wide right. This goes back to the saying, you guys know that I'm a fringe risky guy, right? So whenever you're on the road, you go for the win. It's that simple. That's kind of the storybook from back in the 70s. Every time we see this happen to a team, the theory stays the same. If you're on the road, you go for the win. If you're at home, you play it safe. I think Macon should have went for the win.
This Cam Reed old man moment brought to you by. This game had it all. Big plays, ground and pound. Upperman was plagued by turnovers and penalties in the first half. Macon was big plays. That was the thing. Every time it was punch, counter punch the whole game. Macon swarmed. Upperman grounded out and moved the stick. Just relentless as an iceberg, refusing to go down. But to me, this game really, the difference was the inability for Macon's defense to get Upperman running backs on the ground. They just, I mean, they would meet the running back in the backfield, or they'd meet Chaffin in the backfield, and then he would manage to somehow fall forward for 6-8 yards. I mean, it was that. Uh, but credit Macon County, because you give up a touchdown with under 2 minutes left, and then get a huge return, and then drive down there with a chance to win. These teams are going to see each other again down the road. And
100%. And for those that don't know, this game, Macon jumped up 21-6 in the first quarter.
Yep.
Upperman rattled off the next 22 to go up 28-21. Macon went down and scored 28-28. Upperman went down and scored 35-28. Macon went down and scored, missed the extra point. They got the onside kick with 36 seconds left, and a last-second heave was intercepted at the 5-yard line.
It does. I thought this game would be a little bit more of a defensive struggle than it was. It does give me a little bit concerned about both sides' defenses, because Upperman now is susceptible to big plays. Macon, as Scott said, can't get guys on the ground. Some things to clean up for both teams going forward. But like we've talked about, these two teams probably on a collision course again in round 3 of the postseason if it gets that far.
Yes.
Maplewood
gets a big win, 19-14 at Spring Hill.
Yeah, the Panthers needed that. They're trying to turn things around, and it's a big momentum win against the Spring Hill team that beat up on them last year.
40-7 Marshall County over Station Camp.
Surprise.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was a nasty night for man and beast, I guess. But Marshall County, just way too much. We talked about this in the show, that Tyler Thompson was going to be a test for Station Camp, and he absolutely was. Passed for 4 touchdowns, ran for another. The defense for the Bison played well, but I think they just got worn down as their offense could get absolutely nothing going during the game.
Kind of sets up that hierarchy in Region 5-4A. Now Marshall County clear-cut number 2 at this point. NBA goes on the road to Memphis, comes back with a shutout, 31-0 over MUS.
It's a big win for the Big Red. I mean, goodness, last year at home they lost MUS. This time they go on the road and they blank them.
Yeah, their defense was just stifling last night, and the offense looked very good. Mixing it up, run and pass. They found another weapon in Colton Erickson, who had 89 yards and 2 scores. He had a dagger that was about 50 yards to cap the scoring. But NBA overall looked very, very good last night.
38-0 Nolensville over McGavick.
Knight's big shutout win. I mean, that's impressive.
Kind of a struggle for East Robertson against Monterey, but the Indians find a way to get it done, 22-15.
Yeah, I think what we've seen out of East Robertson since Isaiah's injury in week 1, they've totally changed the philosophy on offense. Totally. I think they're a pass-first team now. And I think that is a move that it's a very drastic change for them this year. But, guys, this is going to be a great change for them next year.
Mm-hmm.
Because Isaiah's not going to be there next year anyway. Zach is a junior. Xavion is a junior. The quarterback's a sophomore, Kason Young. And then the other big-time receiver that's really started showing out for him, Cade Brooks, junior. This is the move that he's made. They're still a really good team defensively. I still think they're very high up on the possibility of representing the East in 2A. But this is a move not just for this year, for next year also.
Well, this game was 15-7 with 6 minutes or so left. And East Robertson came back with 15 unanswered. And the aforementioned Cade Brooks scored both of them, one on a run and one on a 24-yard reception. East Robertson finding ways to win without their primary weapon is huge.
Moore County knocks off Eagleville 21-14. A good showing for Eagleville, though, in this one. This was a game last year that they did not have a good showing in.
No, I mean, this region's kind of wide open, too, with Moore County kind of going down a little bit, losing Dawson White. Yeah, I mean, Eagleville probably needs to win this game if they want a shot at their region title, but anything can happen.
Providence Christian, no trouble with Mount Juliet Christian, 38-0.
I will say this: Isaac and I were talking at the Green Hill game last night. He really wanted to know the score of this game. So he said he kind of roots for Mount Juliet Christian. And then when I saw it, I texted it to him. He just sent me a message back that I can't repeat on here because we're a family-friendly show. But yeah, what a win for the Lions.
Yeah, big night for Joshua Meyer. He had 3 TDs for the Lions last night.
Middle Tennessee Christian with a bounce back win. They knock off Grace Christian 21-14.
Good win for the Cougars. They needed it. Time.
Rumors of the Cougars' demise may be a little bit premature, but it was a Briggs Boyd show as the quarterback ran for 17. I'm sorry, he ran for yards that I have incorrect, but he ran for score and threw for 2 more. Shy Murphy had a big night.
Hey, some more highlights. Our game of the week was BGA and Nashville Christian. Nice little run out for the Wildcats. First off, that cannon is loud, too, if you haven't heard it. Caden Marable's pass here deflected. Max Curry with a heads-up play to grab it and score. BGA went up 7-0. Jared Curtis answered with a touchdown run. And then the Wildcats responded again. Marable on the ground with his legs, 7 yards out. BGA was up 14-7. They go up 21-7 on the Ethan Kellum TD run, and then the Eagles get tricky. The flea flicker, Colt McClary all alone, 22 yards and 6 points for Nashville Christian. They got it back within a score. BGA again, Caden Marable with his legs. Just finds open field, and once he's in the open field, he's elusive. BGA goes back up by 2 scores. But check out Jared Curtis here, this next play, because this is what a 5-star can do. Stays on his feet, finds enough balance, and finds Zane Crabton in the end zone. Nashville Christian cut it to 28-21 right before the half. Ethan Kellum again broke loose up in the open field. He goes 45 yards. It gives BGA a 35-21 lead. Then the rain kind of hit Franklin, and this game got sloppy. Some bad snaps, some slipping around. But Jared Curtis didn't slip here. He goes 80 yards to pull the Eagles back within 35-28. But the defense has found a way to get the job done in the end. 4th and 20, 3:20 to go. Nashville Christian, basically their last chance to try to tie or win the game. Curtis needing to find the end zone, had to scramble around a bit. And then Arnett Hayes with the acrobatic interception there to get BGA the ball back. They ran the clock out, got 1 first down and what they needed. They wound up winning that game 35-28. A fun game all around, not the scoreboard shattering shootout that we all kind of anticipated, but it was a great game nonetheless.
No, it lived up to the hype, though. I mean, we talked about this being a great quarterback matchup. Caden Marable just is a baller. This offense is kind of – you could see it last year when we went to the CPA game, Chris. Like, you could tell they had the pieces there to be really good, potentially great. Bobby Bentley's there now, and they're a real state contender. Like, this is the way the offense runs. That CPA game here in a couple weeks is going to be huge. But there's a lot of talk. Like, whenever we talk about Jared Curtis, you get people that are like, "Oh, stop talking about him. He's not that good."
Overrated. Yeah. Find me another quarterback who can do that.
Yeah. I mean,
That'll be interesting.
That's elite arm talent. That is elite arm talent. There's a reason the number 1 team in the country wants him. And that's
Don't you say their name. Don't you say their name.
The Dogs.
Just close your eyes, Cam, and imagine him in black and red.
But I will say this, man. BGA's got so many weapons. I mean, good Lord. Arnett Hayes is the real deal. I'm really impressed with this BGA team, and I'm excited to see what they can do this year.
Yeah, and no, Nashville Christian can take a lot away from this game, too, because, I mean, they were very resilient. Had a chance to tie, possibly win the game there at the end. Yeah, they lost, but it's not a bad loss.
I think Joe hit it right on the head. I think there's a decent chance that both these teams might be in Chattanooga.
You can see it.
Yep.
Definitely see it. Dixon County shuts out Northeast 27-0 for the first one of the year.
Big one for the Cougars as they get a really hot Cobras team next week.
Yeah.
East Nashville, no trouble with Overton, 49-7.
I mean, we talked about East defense in the first week, and they've like, all right, we'll take that personally. And the last couple of weeks, they've been dominant. This is the East defense we expected to see to beat up on an Overton team that had some momentum following last week's win over Hillsboro. The Eagles are back to what we think they are.
As a research assistant, I would really like to have East Nashville stats.
Innsworth wins over Osceola out of Arkansas, 48-0.
I've been to Osceola, Arkansas. There is nothing in Osceola, Arkansas, so a 0 is appropriate.
Speaking of shutouts, Page gets number 3, 14-0 at Franklin.
Yeah,
That's 12. That's 12 quarters without giving up a point.
not an great offensive showing for the Patriots. Maybe Franklin's defense is better than we expected, but hey, at what point is Page's defense going to give up points, guys? Because this next stretch of games is, it's real favorable.
Well, they've outscored opponents 73-0 this year. But let's say, you do have to admit, Franklin was missing their starting quarterback, Brewer Wilson, out. But still, they limited Franklin's rushing game to a -3 yards rushing. So,
Franklin did have a drive that was inside the 20, inside the 15 on Page, and Justin Bruce come up with a big interception.
Yeah.
One of the more underrated players on that team. I think we talk about a lot of their guys. Justin Bruce he's a dude. I mean, he's a heck of a ball player.
Yep.
And if I'm not mistaken, Jacob Rathbone did not leave the field last night. I think he played every down.
Red Bowling Springs wins 35-6 over Pickett County.
How about them dogs?
Yeah.
Bulldogs now 2-1 with that win. Portland led this game, and then they didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Davidson Academy wins 31-20.
So many self-imposed errors by Portland last night. I think they turned the ball over 4 or 5 times. I mean,
We've seen that in spurts. In their game against White House, they got behind early with several mistakes, self-imposed mistakes, personal fouls, and that sort of thing. This Portland team is a lot better than what they have been. Their physicality is something that you would see from the old Portland teams. Portland heading in the right direction and could be a dangerous team there in that region, especially as Chris said, 1 through 5 in that region are all pretty close.
Yeah.
Good win for Davidson Academy too. I mean, they back-to-back kind of classic games for them. Last week they had a really good one against Lincoln County, and this week they had to come from behind to beat Portland. So things don't get easier this week though, as they host the hottest team in D2AA at the moment.
Yeah. Well, the Panthers put up 339 yards rushing, but like Joe said, they gave up 4 turnovers. Bears outscored the Panthers 21-6 in the second half. Portland is a good team, and they are going to do some damage, I think.
My favorite nickname in all of Tennessee, the Howard Hustling Tigers. They get it done 30-0 over Republic.
Such a good name. It
is.
Tullahoma, actually, no, Beach beats Riverdale 7-0 in basically what was a monsoon.
Yeah, I think this game got delayed. Riverdale, it sounds like they went through a couple of quarterbacks. But hey, Beach gets the win. That's what they needed. They have not been an offensive juggernaut, and they didn't need to be last night.
What I get from our reporter on the spot, Matt Logston, was there was absolutely no flow in this game unless you were wanting to talk about the river that was flowing across the field. Beach committed 15 offensive penalties in this game. The only points were a Caden Powell run from 1 yard out. but the Bucks turned the Warriors over 3 times, 2 picks. Riverdale was swapping quarterbacks in and out, and they have 2 primaries. Dante Cameron ended up having 2 interceptions off of his throws, and there was a fumble recovery. So big win for Beach, taking down a Riverdale team that in what was a sense a typhoon.
Yeah, and I just wanted to add that one of you 3 will be apologizing, or somebody on our team will be apologizing. It won't be me.
No one likes you, Cam.
Yeah, Cam. Don't worry, just go up there, and I'm sure Matt will still. Who has the best tailgate in the game, by the way?
Nice recovery, Scott. Tullahoma knocks off Rockville 21-19.
Back and forth game throughout. Rockville, I believe, led in the second half at one point, but Tullahoma gets a really impressive home win for their first of the year.
Man, the Rockets have played a bunch of close games.
Yeah.
Mhm.
West Creek, no trouble with Rossview 31-7.
That's wrong. That's wrong.
It's definitely
Hot.
That's my fault.
Yeah,
Rossview 31, West Creek 7.
Yes. Yeah. That's the first. That's my fault. Okay. I got that one in late and just 2 red teams. First 3-0 start since 2013 for Rossview. Special teams was big. Blocked a punt, recovered, fumbled kickoff. Both leading to points. Again, not Chris's fault. My fault. Call it, I don't know, dirt fever.
Guess what? We're going to fix this in real time. Watch this.
Oh, look at you.
There.
Because I got the records right.
There. 31-7 Rossview over West Creek. We will fix in real time if we have to.
Well, look at Chris.
Sequatchie County 33, Watertown 28.
Watertown led this game, and Isaac was very, very happy about that, our resident Watertown grad. And then when he saw the final score, he got really upset. So, Sequatchie County, good win for them. Watertown still, they've come close in their first 3 games, just have not been able to get in the win column yet.
Yeah, they got to fix some stuff defensively. Totally uncharacteristic of a Josh Hackett defense. Got a really good quarterback over there in Waldrop. Purple Tigers should still be a playoff team, though.
Smyrna gets into the win column 30-13 over Siegel.
Yeah, solid night for Tyreek McCarver. 7 catches for 78 yards, but also had 5 tackles. And Aiden Augustine, 144 yards rushing, couple scores. Big rebound for Smyrna.
I think somebody owes Liberty Creek an apology. We all picked Smith County. We all lost. 23-12 for the Wolves.
Well, I'm sure somebody will make one.
Yeah, what a performance by Mac Tuggle. Max. 170 some odd yards, right?
Yeah.
3 TDs maybe, and a kickoff return and an interception return. I mean, he did everything for the Wolves.
Yeah, he was I was trying to look it up, but
we'll keep going on, Scott. Though you're good. 35-0 Fairview over Stewart County.
They figured it out.
Yep. Look out, boys.
Yellow Jackets are up to 2-1 and get that region opening win. I'm gonna pull these highlights up because Joe, you guys were over at Green Hill, and you can talk about it.
Yeah, Green Hill hosting the military and service member night, and it was kind of a defensive slugfest for the first 3 quarters, guys. Summit here, nice little pitch, but Green Hill's defense is all over it. First points of the night here on the kick through the pouring rain. At this point, I am essentially as wet as one possibly can be. Cannon Burrows here with a really tough run, fixes his helmet in the process, hurdles over a guy for the first down. You got Will Milner here in the second half. Nice interception to put Green Hill in a really good spot for for some more points. I think they punted, though. I can't remember 100%. I'm so waterlogged. Summit's defense, though, they played really well last night, too. A lot of that happened. But Cannon Burrows finally gets Green Hill within scoring distance here. Really nice run. He used his legs so much. He's in here for his first touchdown of the night. Next play, kind of a weird play, honestly. The kickoff, it seems like with Josh Crouch's teams, there's always some sort of special teams play. Cannon Burrows here, another big run. I said he got in just because I wanted it for the highlight. In reality, he was a yard short. He'll punch it in, though, here. Gets a little banged up because he gets sandwiched between four guys. He ended up coming out of the game and then coming back in. And then defensively, Green Hill gets a big stop right here, and they close out the shutout win for win number 3 on the year and their second shutout in the last 3 games.
Yeah, impressive win for Green Hill. Summit's got to find some offense and fast because they haven't gotten into region play yet, and they're about to.
Yeah.
Green Hill, and they've only given up 7 points all year. So that defense is playing a lot better than I think a lot of people thought they would. I thought this would be a much higher scoring game, and it probably could have been. Green Hill probably could have put up a lot more points had the rain just not been there. I talked with Coach Crouch as he was walking off the field at halftime. He goes, "Man, just seems like every time we get the ball, it starts to pour down rain." And he was not wrong. In the first half, it seemed like every time Green Hill got the ball, just absolute downpour.
Just to clear the record, Matt Tuggle for Liberty Creek, 19 for 164, 2 touchdowns, 4 tackles, an interception, and a kickoff return for touchdown.
A lot of solid night's work.
Pretty good.
DCA, no trouble with Tennessee Heat, 56-21.
I wouldn't say they didn't have trouble. This was a 14-14 game at one point. And then DCA's offense got going. Mitchell Carey had himself a night. I think he threw for 7 touchdowns.
And, guys, I can tell you from hearing Coach Pierce's post-game speech after the Friendship win last week, he's very disappointed with the way the Wildcats started this one. He said that they were going to respect their opponent, come out and prepare for their opponents the same way that they did for Friendship. And I don't doubt that they did prepare for them the same way, but they definitely started slow out of the gate. This was 14-14 at one point. So
yeah. Mitchell Carey, 274, 6 TDs passing, another rushing. Grayson Scragg had a monster night, 7 catches, 153, and 3 scores.
Gordonsville wins 41-0 at home over Trousdale County.
That has to hurt you, Cam. How bad does that hurt you?
Hey, we've dished out plenty of them. We will again.
Yeah, another tremendous night for Bryson Grisham. 123 yards, 4 touchdowns. But the big story was, I believe, they held Trousdale County to a total of 64 yards total offense.
But, hey, that's more yards than they had against Macon, so progress.
This is true.
Hey, progress, and it's a good trajectory for next week. We get Republic next week. So,
okay.
Westmoreland goes on the road and knocks off White House Heritage 42-20. A White House Heritage offense that had been showing a lot of good signs, and Westmoreland took it to them.
Yeah, all I got to say is thankfully our scoreboard works.
Yeah, Westmoreland, their players let us have it on Instagram, sending us multiple DMs about the score. My favorite was one where they were all pointing at the scoreboard, and the scoreboard was empty. It was completely off. So it's a great win for the Eagles. 42 points over a good White House Heritage team. We talk about East Robertson really struggling against Monterey guys. Westmoreland could be in play to take a top 2 spot in this region the way they're playing.
For sure.
Well, Cooper White had a tremendous game. He had 2 touchdowns rushing. He had a scoop and score of a blocked field goal. He picked off a pass. As long as Cooper White is on the field, they've got a shot.
Yeah, I had Westmoreland as my number 2 team in this region to begin with, and they're now finding offense to go along with that defense, and that's obviously a good sign for the Eagles there.
Absolutely.
Let's see. We've got a couple more to go through. White House 34, Montgomery Central 7. Blue Devils get that region opening win, and it needed one because that showdown with Whites Creek is bigger than they thought.
Yeah, it's huge. It's a huge matchup next week. I will be
Mm-hmm.
there. It's gonna be a fun one, guys. I'm excited to see. Saw White House week 1 against Portland in a game they probably should have won if they had taken advantage of their opportunities in the second half. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
One more score to go through this morning. Whitwell 49, Joe Burns 7.
Yeah, Joe Burns just got a really good player in Amari Cotton, but don't have much else around him.
Whitwell's a pretty good team, and so that's a tough match. See how Joe Burns does once they get into region play.
Yep. All right, that's it for all the scores from our area from week number 3. Guys, what jumped off the page at you?
Either I don't know whether this was weather related. I'd say part of it is, but 29% of the games, the 58 games that we cover, were shutouts last night. There were 17 shutouts in games in our area. Now, I'm sure some of that was, well earned, but last night seemed to be, seemed to be more than usual. So whether it was like I said, whether it was weather related or just really good defense or a little bit of both, I'm not sure. But there were some surprising.
I would throw in that we get a lot of mismatches in region play.
Yeah.
Because this is the point of the season where the good teams and the bad teams separate themselves, and we get a lot of those matchups, and you just happen to have a lot of them this week. That's what I would attribute it to.
Yeah, I think that the biggest thing that jumped out to me was defense, right? As we were talking about the shutouts, but the weather did play a factor in how many turnovers we saw, I think, for sure. But then you look at, we've talked about it a few times before on our show in the last year or so, but the amount of talent that's in this area has really jumped up from where it has been in the past. You look at that throw that Jerry Curtis made. You look at Mount Juliet's defensive end, Atticus Farida. You look at Eric Hazard at Page. I mean, Brendan Ains at Page. George McIntyre, and I can go on and on and on, right? Guys, this area is turning into a hotbed for elite football players.
Yep.
Yeah, I think for me, I think we talked a lot about Region 4-6A going into the year. I think there's a clear top 3 teams. We kind of talked about this a little off air. And then that 4th spot between Lebanon and Gallatin, that game is going to be massive. I think Mount Juliet's kind of the clear team at the top right now, just with the way they've dominated teams through the first 3 weeks. Green Hill's right on their heels, though. And Cokeville got a test last night against White County, a really good White County team. Those games are going to be huge going forward. So it's going to be really fun to see how this region plays out.
A lot of next week's schedule too, and there's quite a few region games next week too. It's going to be a pivotal week for some of those regions to kind of sort themselves out a bit.
Yeah.
All right, that's good.
Well, all I was going to say is, and for all you folks watching, first of all, thank you. The second thing is that we continue to need stats from certain teams. So we can, do proper evaluations and do, it especially with some of these teams that are really doing well, but are in areas that, well, I'm just going to say, for example, Westmoreland, we don't get stats from you guys. So all we can go off is, as much digging as we can do. We need stats so we can do players of the week and line of the week and give you guys the recognition you deserve. And that goes for so many other schools out there.
Let's just go ahead and mention what everybody wants to talk about with that. Guys, we do get a slight say in nominees for Mr. Football. We do get to put in names to be semifinalists.
Yep.
So we can't do that if you don't give us the stats.
It's like I said Wednesday night. There's no good excuse for that anymore. It's 2024. The technology's there. Just people need to just use it. I mean, that's frustrating for us because we want to cover these kids and do it in the right way and get the stats and talk about them. But when teams aren't helpful, we can't do anything about it. So
Trust me, guys.
talk to your
I love,
coaches. Tell them, let them know.
yeah, I love crunching data so much it drives these guys nuts.
Mhm.
And it doesn't bother me in the least to me and spreadsheets are like this. I just send us the scores then. So if we didn't mention a person or we overlooked a stat, it's not because we don't care. It's because
we probably don't
we
have it.
we don't have the stats, and we can't go by hearsay. We can't go by anything else. So
And to the teams that do and the people that do, thank you. It's very helpful. The ones that send them in Friday night after
absolutely,
games don't want to go without
yes.
mentioning that. So
But we don't want you to think that we're homers and we don't care about certain teams.
Dalton, thank you. Appreciate that.
Yes, Dalton,
Wanna
thank you
throw
very
that out
much.
there. Anybody willing to step up and help with that? No, let us know. All right, let's get out of here. College football on the horizon this morning and this afternoon, and NFL on Sunday. It's a great weekend for football. So
Yes,
let's
it is.
enjoy it.
And Nico Iamaleava is about to tear NC State up tonight.
I was glad
Well,
you
there's
got
an
to
Oktoberfest up the road. That's where I'm headed.
All right, let's get out of here. For Scott, Joe, Cam, KJ, Isaac, and Tyson, who are not on the show this morning, I'm Chris. We'll see you guys Wednesday night, 7 p.m. on 615 Preps Live. Have a great weekend, and we'll see y'all later.
Go Irish.
See ya.
Go Vols.